brought up in a humble family. Dad was doctor, mom was teacher, typical middle class family. And that was one of the reasons that I did not choose engineering as a profession even after my mom, dad were after my life. You need to think where your consumer is sitting. You can't be just aspirational towards in your mind that मुझे ही अच्छा लगता है तो सारी दुनिया यही खरीदेगी. You have to adjust your, you have to recalibrate and keep calibrating with customer every time. So no point of getting a product which is already there in the market. In a day, I would have sold more than 1 lakh units. Today, Noise is around 2,000 odd crores of a revenue GMV. I have not raised money till 2,000 crores. It's the only brand in India today that has reached to that revenue, profitable and bootstrapped.
Super excited to have Gaurav today.
Thank you.
Gaurav, thanks for making time.
All my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Last night I messaged on the student group. If you have any questions for Gaurav, let me know. And some very interesting DMs came to me then.
So very interesting. Then I'll be happy to answer the questions.
Yeah, no, I think we have a bunch of questions, and we'll also have a lot of time for audience questions. So you guys can start thinking of what you want to ask Gaurav. But Gaurav, just to get started, could you just perhaps take us through your journey? I know you're a pilot. And how does a pilot become an electronics entrepreneur? What was that journey like? Could you just lay out the chronology for us?
So I'll take you maybe a few years before pilot. I grew up in a town called Bikaner. I'm sure a lot of people would have heard about it because of sweets and the bhujiyas. Brought up in a humble family. Dad was doctor, mom was teacher, typical middle class family. Was a very curious kid in school. Now I realize it more because when I see a lot of people around me, I had much more curiosity at that particular time. Always that nudge towards asking, ये क्यों होता है, वो कैसे होना है, ये क्या है, वो क्या है. And I was a very strong biasness in my opinion and views towards the consumer. And I always used to read the patterns, why something is selling, why something is not selling, what is happening in the global media. And that was one of the reasons that I did not choose engineering as a profession even after my mom, dad were after my life. It took 1 year of convincing for me to convince them that I want to become a pilot. Fortunately, they agree. I realized कि चलो.
So this is after your class 12?
This is before class 12. 11 to 12, I was just convincing them that this is also a profession that I can choose. Being the only son from a middle class family, people will like, नहीं बेटा pilot कैसे बनेगा? एक ही बेटा है हमारा, कुछ हो गया तो. So all that stories were there.
That is fair.
But fortunately, I could convince them. I also realized later in my life that I had that capability probably to convince people around me. Plus,
so what convinced them? Finally, was it just your relentless pursuit of?
I think pursuing was one factor. Every parents want their kids to get stable. You have to get some more examples around them. So prove with the data. Look at this set of people who are doing great in their life, became pilot, now also retired in early life. They can do whatever they want. So it took some time, came up with data. This is 2007. So came out of that city, directly flew my first flight as international flight alone, went to Philippines to get myself trained, was there for 2 years. Again, there also I was one of that explorer kid who was trying to explore why it is happening, what is that aircraft, what is not that, blah, 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 blah. In that, I also realized that all the techs that were coming in my life since my childhood, which is like 2000 when somebody is around 14, 15 years, I started using a lot of gadgets around me. So I had that passion second. Like, यार जो भी चीज़ नहीं आई, I have to have my hands on them. So unfortunately, in 2010-11 was the time when I got my license and everything was going flawless. I applied for Kingfisher. Kingfisher airline died. I applied for Jet Airways. That airline died. Then I thought something is wrong with me. I realized I have too much of time. Indigo and all were just growing up. I had enough of my time with myself where I could explore things that I...
So it takes 2 years to become a pilot?
Yeah, technically it takes 2 years. A lot of people would comment that it can take lesser than that also if you're depending upon how wealthy you are and how much you can fly fast and all those things. But technically 1.5 years is a decent time.
And so you trained to be on like the Boeing 737?
No, so it's a journey. So you get trained like it's undergraduate program. The graduate program is the Boeings and the Airbuses. Till the time I was not flying, the airline used to pick up the students or the pilot license guy and put them a free training, free MBA program. That
Right.
you go and fly for us.
Right.
But by the time I came out, the program has to be funded by the student. So that was also the cost that came in. But anyways, the industry was not going great, and I had enough of time with me where I could continue exploring things. I used to buy a lot of stuff online. That time only eBay used to be the place where I used to buy things, and I started seeing some gaps in the market because whatever I used to search
This is
was
not 2011, 2012?
2011, 2012.
Right.
And
This is like very early in the Indian electronics space.
very, very early. I think that time
Samsung would have just come in.
Samsung was there for a long time. Nokia was probably in the last leg. Was that company? BlackBerry was doing exceptionally good. Apple was still finding out its space. So yeah, that was that time. Forget about all those.
Micromax probably.
Micromax was booming up.
booming.
As a kid, I was not very sure what is happening around the electronics industry. I was more curious about what is not available in this industry, and as a consumer, how I am getting evolved. I was assuming that everybody is getting evolved. Now coming back from a tier 2 city where you had lack of options available to you when you go and buy. So e-commerce was one thing that I used to always see what is happening, what is available, what is not available, and I'll probably buy things online. So I used to think that if I am getting satisfied, I was the first few initial customers who got very easily trustable on buying online. By the time COD, ये वो बहुत fraud हुए, सब कुछ हुआ दुनिया के साथ, but I could realize that
What was some of the purchases you made, like phones? I mean, smartwatches were not there at the time.
nothing. Phones तो चलो इतने पैसे भी नहीं थे कि phones खरीद सकते थे, but all small accessories, all small clothings.
Oh, like that. Okay.
For example, you have a headphone, you can buy it online. And I understood what is duplicate, what is original, who sells what. I understood what is that gap and what education that a customer need. And because gadget was my second love after being pilot, I thought why not to explore into this area and just give it a shot. In my mind, I was thinking that, okay, 3 years down the line, industry will be okay. I'll renew my license again, I'll get into a job.
Got it.
But meanwhile, I had this opportunity because my co-founder Amit, he's my cousin. He was running his own business that time where he was the factory for, not the factory, but he was the nominated supplier for a lot of garment accessories business for H&M, Gap, Zara and all this. So I had luxury to sit in his office for free. I had luxury to try out things with no cost, free internet, free food, you do whatever you want, free time. So I started doing a lot of e-commerce thing, understanding what is happening around Flipkart. Flipkart was also not that big at that particular time. Snapdeal was coming up, Flipkart was coming up, Amazon was not at all there.
So, I mean, how much time did you spend doing this exploration?
There's no quantifiable time that I gave. Probably it was a couple of years that was going in my back mind, which I was not realizing.
Got it.
But then I also started exploring international market. What is happening? Because e-commerce was very good there. China was doing great. All these companies were doing great. US was doing good. So I started realizing that this change in behavior of consumer buying patterns will come in India too. Because as a customer, if I am changing because I have explored it faster than the other people, I'm sure the new generation will also do it much faster than what I have done. And probably once there is a lot of opportunity for a customer to buy, a lot of platforms are there, people will buy automatically. The second biggest issue was that when you used to buy any stuff, at least in my childhood, and if people are coming from tier 2, tier 3, would relate it to that, we did not get any experiential Indian brand. Right? We did not get a great customer experience. We used to get a product, for an example, don't want to demean any brand, but for an example, any Indian brand in 2003-4, if you have to buy a headphone, will come in a wrapper, white bag, poly bag, and random copy product. But when I used to put my hands on international product, they were not very different in terms of the functionality, but they were very different in the experience that they used to give. And so I always had that desire of giving the right experience and having the right. So I found out that gap and started my. So again, you have to prove to someone that this business is sustainable. So I went to Amit and I told him that these karte hain. And he was like, yeah.
Amit is older, younger?
He's older. He's 10 years older than me. And so I told him that we can do this. He was like, yeah, theek hai, abhi pilot ban nahi raha hai, 3 saal time hai. He'll be busy something doing. Then I exploded with accessories just to make a statement that all these things that I'm trying will sell online and there is a scope.
And you're saying online on Flipkart and...
Online Flipkart. I started my D2C also, but there's a lot of story behind that. That I thought I want to launch a brand, proper brand. I just don't want to be thinking as a trader, kuch bhi laya, kuch bhi becha, but wanted to give a full proof brand and wanted to give a 100% great customer experience, and created that product. Started doing it from my D2C. Flipkart, Amazon were not that big at that particular time. Marketplace was also evolving.
And this is what, 2014, 15?
14. 14 is what when we started Noise in August probably. Yeah, somewhere around August. We started, it's been 8 years now. We started with mobile accessories as a business.
With the brand or without the brand?
With brand.
So Noise was always...
Noise was always there. We had done couple of trials in Noise. Amit did it with his friend, couple of trials pre-2014 and failed. So again, I had a registered brand name with me. I had full liberty to try what I think is right. I was just targeting consumers like me, and I started with the mobile accessories as a business. For first few years, it did well. In fact, the day one of my sales, because when you identify the right gap in the market and you're convinced about it and you've done enough of studies about it, your product should sell, it will sell, nobody can stop it. The first day, I bought some 100 cases and cover probably, and they got sold out in just 2 hours by listing.
Where did you buy from?
China. So I had access to all those territories much faster than other people, and typical dropshipping. We were just speaking about it, and typical dropshipping. So I could relate it much better when you were saying.
So how much did you buy for? Do you remember? And how much did you sell for? That's an important question.
Let me. So I was about 23, 24 that particular time. Okay. And I was not thinking to build a business of this scale till the first sale happened. In my mind, I was like, 3 years, 4 years time nikalenge, and then by the time it will come, we'll just go for pilot again. First case when I listed was at 399 rupees. 20 sold in 2 minutes. I thought कि यार बहुत बिक रहा है, तो प्राइस बढ़ा देते हैं. तो 100 रुपये और ऊपर कर दिया. 499, 599, 699, 799. I got off the stock, and I realized that there is a genuine
demand. The most
demand.
expensive one you sold was at 699.
6, 7, and something around that.
Okay,
so not sure.
It's price discovery. It's a.
So I would not say that was a price discovery. That was just opportunist. I was just trying to, which is not right. I feel now, but it's okay. You can't be right at first point. So. Started with that, and slowly, gradually spend more time.
So then those 200 sold right away, and then you ordered another what, 1,000?
Somewhere around 500,000. Not sure. पैसा नहीं था यार इतना खरीदने के लिए. So always used to कि अभी जितना आया है उससे जितना बनाया उससे और खरीद ले.
खरीदने के लिए कितना पैसा लगा था?
लगे 5,000 रुपए क्या लगा होगा? I don't even remember, but yeah.
It's very doable.
So it's doable, and I was just doing trials. I was just trying to check my convincing that what I am thinking is genuinely right or not. And it's not like that I did not burn my hands before that. I burned when I started cases and cover as a business for Apple phones. Because मैं Apple use कर रहा था, मुझे लगता था बस सारी दुनिया में Apple के कवर चाहिए. I came up with that, nobody was buying it.
This was before?
This was before this.
Okay.
I made some failure there also.
So first you tried Apple, वो नहीं बिका, then these were Android.
Apple में भी बहुत कुछ fancy covers और ये सब expensive which didn't work well.
इसमें LV लिखा रहता पीछे.
नहीं.
You've seen those?
I bought the wooden cases and cover, which engraving and all more designing and experience, like what I was thinking in my mind. Quick learning was that you need to think where your consumer is sitting. You can't be just aspirational towards in your mind that मुझे ही अच्छा लगता है तो सारी दुनिया यही खरीदेगी. You have to adjust you have to recalibrate and keep calibrating with customer every time. Then I realized that there is a genuine market and I should try and take it very seriously, and that's the time when I started taking seriously, started building the brand, started investing on all the areas that are required to spend, started building up team because Amit was there as my co-founder. He helped me in understanding that why team is important, what is not important, how to choose the right decisions that are required in the business. And for first 2 years, we were just figuring out how do we come up into the gadget space, because I realized if I can do it in 4 hours, somebody can do it in 2 hours also better than me. So I realized that I have to get into gadgets, and Smartwatches was globally doing well.
No, this is much later. This is 2018.
2016,
16,
16 say Fitbit was doing great that time,
And Apple Watch was launched.
Apple was launched. Yeah, Apple Watch was launched, but still the market was in very niche, and we had to invest at least 1.5 years to.
But at
get
that
through our
time in
first
India, smartwatches were not a thing. So you had to think.
So we were thinking very ahead. I learned my lesson in cases and cover that you can't have a product which does not have any differentiator and anybody can get it in the business. So you have to have differentiator in the product. You have to have a brand attached to it.
No, sorry, so you've been selling now accessories, basically covers for a while now.
Yeah.
And you've realized that इसमें differentiation नहीं है. मैं कर सकता हूँ, कोई भी कर सकता है. Brand बनाना पड़ेगा और gadgets में जाना पड़ेगा. But how does someone have the audacity or the vision to move from something as simple as covers to something as complex and complicated as a smartwatch?
See, technically, in back of our mind, we were very clear that we want to do gadgets. I always wanted to do gadgets. I never wanted to do cases and cover. This was again setting up that data place कि हाँ जो मैं सोच रहा हूँ वो सही है और ये सब चीजें work कर सकती हैं industry के अंदर. That got convincing to Amit and people around me, and then we thought there's a genuine case of building business. This is the right time for us to get into brand. People does not have any experiential brand in whether it is accessories, whether it is smartwatch, not even a category there. I have a very strong belief and the theory that I have used in my life, which is there is no point of solving which is already solved. So no point of getting a product which is already there in the market until unless you have a price differentiation or a
quality
or a design or a feature differentiation. Price is not a differentiator that can last with you forever. So I was very clear there's something this I don't want to touch. The only thing that I want to touch is where when you don't have too much of funds, and I'm sure the way you explained me how you guys are trying, when you don't have too much of funds, you have to find out the best suitable strategy where you get customer searching for the product rather than you have to push them ki mera bhi le lo, mera bhi le lo, mera bhi le lo. So we were in that time and I wanted to get into a category which is very new, where there are not a lot of brands, and gadget is a space where I have my convincing. Fitness is a space where Amit is a convincing. We got this right. We thought we should just put couple of years here, invest some time and energy, parallelly whatever is happening in the noise, we keep on building slowly, gradually. In cases and cover also, we would have acquired probably some 30-40 lakh customers in 2 years.
Oh wow!
So we sold that much of inventory. So
your first order, what was your largest order size for covers? And
in a day, I would have sold more than 1 lakh units. This would be on that event days of Diwali and all. That's happened.
So from 200 units like in all to 1
that happened all in 1.5 year. Because
so 2014, 2016, you grew from basically zero.
I grew the cases and cover, and I then left it also in just 2 years time. This was
so you grew it and then you left it.
I left it because I realized there's no point, because the moment some other brand started becoming big, you will see all these traders will start coming because there's no differentiation.
Did that make you good money? Like did that help?
Yeah, they made. I made money initially. That was the reason that we could still do the noise as a bootstrapped business. So just to give you a fact, today noise is around 2,000 odd crores of a revenue GMV. There are only 6 D2C consumer durables brand out of what 1,000 brands that we see have achieved more than 1,000 crores of revenue. I think this is 6 months old data. Out of that, today only one is profitable, who registered profit without raising funds.
Which is you.
There are companies who have raised funds and made profit, but we have not raised money till 2,000 crores. That's the only brand in India today that has reached to that revenue, profitable and bootstrap. So that's the achievement that we have got. So making money, either you have access to wealth so that you can quickly build it up. If you don't have access of wealth, then you have to keep figuring out those small moves that keeps generating revenue for you to fund whatever next project that you want to see. So we started with cases and cover, then went to wearables and hearables, because those were the categories which we had a strong belief that will get penetrated in India, because India is a country where young generation is understanding or accepting things much faster than how it used to be 15, 20 years back. And I just feel that we are fortunate that I born in that era where all these things are happening so quickly and fast. So could quickly do things. Again, digital commerce, social media was something that I was very close to. had a very strong belief that these things will work, and kept our initial investment there. And yeah, if I'll speak about it till again 20-30 minutes, that will
No, so,
go.
whenever we think about starting business, at least because that's what we're reading every day in the news, that this company has fundraised, this company has fundraised, we believe that the first step to building a company is fundraising.
Yes and no both. If you are going into a category which requires a lot of capital, you have to probably raise. And if it is very, very competitive, for an example, tech companies, because you have to make investment first, and the results will come probably 5-10 years later. But in a lot of consumer durables, there is still a chance to start small and then grow faster. A lot of it also depends upon overall ecosystem of the category that you want to start your business in. For us, for an example, the categories that we were in, there was less competition for sure. We were early movers because e-commerce was not known to the bigger players and both traders. Nobody knew it, only educated people who had
Gaurav, let me stop you there. I mean, I would think that to build a consumer durable smartwatch brand, it would require a lot of investment. Yeah. Right?
If today someone has to start this,
right,
he needs at least 100 crore rupees to burn. To reach where probably the top 3 to 4 brands are.
But so what did you do differently?
Like I said, early mover advantage was there for sure. There is 2 years energy.
So early mover advantage means that your cost of acquisition was low because there was less competition.
A lot of things. In digital side, yes. Not many D2C brands were there. So you had still easy way of spending money and get an ROI. Number 2, we hit the trend very early. So people think that 2018 with smartwatches, but we were working since 2016. We made a lot of prototype, failed. So I had an understanding of product much more than any competition would ever have for next 3 years.
So you would do the designing?
We do designing, we do R&D, we do a lot of stuff.
But how did you build that team? Or how did you become, you're a pilot.
We took a lot of help from the technology partners that we have. So when you are in a situation where the category is not yet big, and people are putting a lot of money in terms of tech, building the tech and R&D centers. They also want their partners to come in to help them sell those technology, right? So we partnered with those technology partners initially, and then figured out that they and us have the same motivation to sell this more and give a higher penetration to the country population. So when 2 businesses have same motivation, they help each other grow faster. So that's the time or the situation thing that happens in the business. So we were fortunate there.
Who was your technology partner?
A lot of people. I mean, there's Apollo I'm sure a lot of people would not know those technology partners. All these US and Taiwan, South Korea, chipset manufacturers. We reached out to them.
So you reached out to them on LinkedIn or?
LinkedIn, we had some connections in otherwise also China and all, because 2 years of learning opened up that much of time to start exploring it with them. So started chatting with them.
But why would they take you seriously? I mean, how did you get them to take you seriously? You'd have to, like, if I were to call someone in China and say I want to, work with this, how big an order would you place?
2014, 2016, we did something, right? I was traveling a lot there. I had access to people there. So it's not that everything happened in the first meeting. It takes some time. We started building teams there. We started asking them to start locally engaging. You start with the smallest partner who also does not have a business. He also does not have a business. Both want something. Both say कि चलो try करते हैं, देखा जाएगा, गलत होगा तो हम zero पे तो वैसे भी हैं ही. So all that things gives you initial push. So I always tell this to everyone if I get chance and this question comes up. You need to partner with a person who is also in the same goal. So always try and pick up people who are having the same goals and push it further. That happened with us, and I think we started pushing in wearables category. So there's again a lot of detailings that are there behind this. But yeah, we came up with first watch. We started trials. We got some success, some failures, some small, bigger changes that keep on doing. And I think then again, a lot of things came into our favor. Unfortunately, COVID was bad for a lot of businesses, but for us, the fitness and awareness about tech came very, very high. Yeah. That has increased like 10-15x at that particular time. And fortunately, we were ready with the technology. We were having everything in place, and we started building up from there.
So going back to the technology partners, so you found these partners in Korea and China, Taiwan, etc., and they help you design the watch, they help you design the software, everything, all of those things. And then once you had the product, how big of an order did you place? Were you
First-
confident that you'll be able to sell? What was that initial push like?
See, confidence wasn't enough, because when I used to go and meet Amazon team, I used to ask them, this XYZ brand is selling so much, these global brands are selling so much, what would it need for us to do that well? The only answer that I used to get was that you have to create that quality of product. So I got my convincing that if the quality of product is there, we will for sure reach to wherever we are heading to. The second piece, again, I had to find out some differentiator, which was, for an example, in the particular time, only smart bands were selling, not the full screen watches were selling. So we came up with the first colored screen full watch as a product, which was probably the need. We did a lot of, so why from where did I get that confidence of placing that order of whatever quantity I placed?
What was the quantity?
I think should be between 2,000 odd pieces, if I'm not wrong.
What was the model called?
Impulse was the name. Impulse, yeah.
Noise Impulse.
Noise Impulse Smartwatch was the name, and we launched it on Amazon. And again, so there's a lot of data backing that happened.
So you got your confidence from the fact that Amazon told you
No.
that there's huge demand.
So we got the search trends from Google, we got the search trend from Amazon, we got the search trend from Flipkart. I knew that these many searches are happening. Organically happening. Again, these are people coming and searching for this product. So there is for sure chances कि 2 महीने में नहीं बिकेगा, शायद 6 महीने बिक जाएगा. Let's take that risk. So I always believe 1/3 has to be data. 1/3 has to be the overall ecosystem that is allowing you to whether they have that buy-in or not, or whether the ecosystem has that chance of you to grow. And 1/3 is gut, right? Gut was clear that I was very sure that this technology has to come, I have to be differentiator, I have to do all those things. But yeah, coming back to all these 3 point joints together, after searches, ye wo sab dekh ke, then we launched it. And we got decent response. What we planned, I think we sold it in that particular time. That again gave us confidence that what we are thinking, how we are calculating is also not that bad.
How much time did it take you to sell those first?
Not very sure, but must be a month type, not.
In a month?
In a month type. Whatever we would have thought.
Organically, you don't have to
Not much. And till 2014-16, we had that knowledge of social media, we had knowledge of our D2C running, we had all those basics back-end operations solved for us. So it was not very, very challenging to, to do everything from zero. Matlab, we had that learning and everything. Infra was built in 4 years. Yeah. So we could use the same infra to quickly replicate it. And once we started getting the traction, we started then putting up double time and energy and money to sell more and more and more. So now we have sold more than almost 20 million users would be using Noise today, which is 2 crore people.
People using how many products on average?
1.1.
1.1. So that's 2 crore units, or more than 2 crore units sold.
Yeah, that's 2 in the last 3-4 years time. Yeah.
And then your growth happened with 2 sort of waves that were also happening in India. One is, of course, India is growing and the young population is growing and they're spending a lot more. The second is also the growth of Amazon and Flipkart, right? So out of those 20 million orders, how many are sort of through marketplaces?
I think around 50% would be from the marketplaces, 50 or 60 odd percentage would be from that. Around 20 odd percent comes from our own website. For the first few years, this number used to be 50-50. And we were putting a lot of energy and time on our website. But overall, I think it would be 50-50 kind of a thing. We have offline also now as a bigger channel.
So how many of you tried Amazon or Flipkart as a channel to sell your products? Very few. Most of you were selling on your own website, right? So if you have to start a dropshipping business, how does one get started? Should we start like D2C, like on our own platform, or should we list on?
Depends upon the category. If you don't have funds, I strongly recommend using as a marketplace, because one, it does not require you to put any money on getting the traffic. Forget about building your own D2C operations, blah, 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 blah. वो सब तो बचेगा ही बचेगा. But the time that you save on getting a customer to check your product is also very less. On Amazon now, which is a very evolved platform, you have all those search ads that you can run, all those display ads that you can run. It's still very easy for you to quickly take that person to your product if there are genuine searches happening of that product or not, which I'm sure most of the searches happens on Amazon. There's nothing about it. So my recommendation is, it's good to have D2C as a website to start with, but again, it comes with a lot of operation, a lot of cost, a lot of team that you have to build. To give a quick try, you can start with a marketplace.
Amazon,
Yeah, Amazon, Flipkart, anything. Depends upon, again, what category and what pricing you are thinking of.
Makes sense. How many of you use a noise product or have used a noise product?
Thank you.
There you go.
कुछ तो लोगों ने झूठ भी बोला होगा, but thank you. One thing that we have not compromised in any decision is the design of the product, and
It's a lifestyle product.
it is a lifestyle tech, so we call it a lifestyle tech product. I was deprived for an aspirational or great customer experiential product yourself. So I had a very clear understanding. I want that Indian brands that can sell globally with the same experience that global brands are doing.
So I have a question. Someone mentioned, two of you mentioned price point. When you're in such a competitive market, does it almost become a race to the bottom in terms of pricing? Whoever is offering the best price, because eventually I'm guessing, and I could be wrong, that people will catch on the designs. Okay, these are the highest selling designs. Let's copy this design. Even design is not a differentiator anymore. Then, does it bother you?
See, sometimes it again depends upon what your organizational goal is. When you want to sell only units, then you can do whatever you want. You can drop the prices. You don't need tech. You can go to China. You can just put a stamp and come in. It does not require you to put any investment in tech. It does not require you to put any spend of branding. It does not require you to put any money on the team. It's a typical dropship model. Dropship model is not enough for building the brand. You have to do a lot of other things also. Dropship helps you to build the brand for sure, but it's not the model, because then because the distributor or the manufacturer, if you go or I go, he will not differentiate. He'll give to both of us. You go sell whatever you want. Okay, red color I can give you, blue color I can give you. Now it is up to us. जो customer को अच्छा लगा वो ले लिया. Now nothing is in our hand. So pricing, like I said before also, pricing is not the lever that one should choose for a proper business or a sustainable business that we are thinking of. We have to build the brand.
And the value.
The value will come automatically. If you don't have a value, I think by default it has to be there. If you have no value, the brand to hai nahi. The brand is only in the mind of a founder or the team that they have. That's it. The brand does not exist in the consumer mind. So we have to think about consumer mind first, and what is he thinking? What do he want?
What are some of the campaigns that have worked the best for you? I saw a Rohit Sharma ad.
Okay, that's like 2000
that's the one I remember.
Yeah.
But what are some of the campaigns that have worked really well, and what are some of the campaigns that have not worked at all?
There are a lot of campaigns that have not worked for us, and again, what is the definition of worked or not worked is also dependent on how much money and time you have put and what are the result ROI that you were expecting. Last year we did a campaign called India's #1 smartwatch brand, Noise. That worked really well for us. That got us, in terms of recall of that ad, was 80% higher than any other ad that we have done or our competition has done. So
how much investment do you have to put in an ad to be successful, or a campaign to be successful?
If it is creative, probably no money.
Okay.
Or if it is extraordinarily creative and viral content, then probably it is, you don't have to put a lot of money. A worst ad can also be made viral by just putting huge money there. So again, there is no right answer or wrong
creativity
answer
versus price.
Yeah. So I would say creativity is the core lever for any bootstrapped young D2C startup that is there. Do not compromise on content. Do not compromise on creativity, because as a brand, young brand, you only have that. Product फिर भी है market में 50. But what can differentiate you is your creativity and how differentiately you are promoting your product and telling your story, like she was mentioning. But yeah, a lot of campaigns have worked. I mean, recently when we got Virat Kohli as a brand ambassador, uh, his launch as a brand ambassador was also very successful. We got a lot of awards there. It was a viral content. That
Why
team
didn't
has
you
done.
sponsor the World Cup? Or did you?
Like I said, when you have less money, use it wisely. If I would raise,
I mean, you
probably
can't
something-
say we made 2,000 crores in revenue in the same sentence say you don't have money.
But that does not mean that you have money to spend
Fair.
on all the areas,
Fair,
right?
fair,
You have to be very focused with what you're doing.
Just double clicking on, so someone told me that you've launched a new smartwatch, which is almost 16,000 rupees.
That's a smart ring.
Smart ring, right? So that's out of your pricing structure completely. How did that come about?
I mean, the pricing is probably, the category is very nascent first. The global pricing are such. Again, there's a lot of tech in R&D. This product that we are doing was started in 2022 January. This is 2023 October that we have come up, and this product has just launched now. First of all, there is no right price for this product because we are just calculating based on how we normally calculate the price. Globally, if you go for a smart ring, there is only one brand that, or maybe one and a half brand that are there. Nothing is less than 20 odd thousand. We are also aspiring for the same price. We are not looking for reducing the price because it's a very niche category, and for the niche category, they are looking for the right product, right experience, right tech. They are not looking for the price. As a brand, we have always tried to speak to the tier 1 first, and then tier 2. We have not yet spoken to tier 3 and tier 4 until unless there is an ad that has been served to them by automatic ways, but still we are still talking to them. I think price is important, but having the right price. I don't think India is anymore looking to buy the cheapest product. My products in wearables and hearable categories also at least 20% higher ASP than the nearest competition of Indian brands I'm talking about. Forget about the trading. Trading mein to aur bhi, matlab, it would be 50-60% higher. So price wise, we are decently higher than the market. And with the ring, I think we've just started. We are also learning for that. But the kind of tech that we have built is a comparable tech of the world. That's the reason why this is at that price.
On that note, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much. Lovely talking to you guys. Thank you.